mynews.studio.
Picture this: solar panels reflecting sunlight above ancient chapels as the Vatican becomes the first nation to run completely on solar power. Do you think faith can actually change how the world uses energy?
Today's date is June 13th, 2025. Just 2 weeks ago, the Vatican flipped the switch. Now it's running entirely on solar energy. I doubt many people saw that coming.
It's a big change. A real milestone was finishing the agrivoltaic plant at Santa Maria di Galleria. This isn't just a few panels on rooftops. It's a large-scale solar and farming project built on Vatican-owned land just outside Rome.
Why did they build it outside Vatican City? Was it just a space issue?
Exactly. There just isn't enough space inside Vatican City, too many historic buildings and narrow courtyards. So they used Santa Maria di Galleria. It's about 424 hectares. That land used to have Vatican radio towers, but now it's transformed. Solar panels above, crops growing below and around them.
So, all of the Vatican's electricity comes from there now. And how does this agrivoltaic thing actually work? Can you explain the setup?
The panels are spaced and lifted, so sunlight still reaches the crops underneath, but also powers the grid. It's a balancing act. Get as much solar energy as possible, but don't block the plants. The shade from the panels even helps reduce water loss, which is useful as summers get hotter. Sometimes it can even boost crop yields. People have talked about this approach before, but this is the first time a country has used it for all its electricity.
The Vatican isn't a big industrial power, but the symbolism is strong. How did this all begin? Was it Pope Francis's idea?
He played a big role, but it actually started earlier. Back in 2008, Pope Benedict XVI had solar panels put on the Paul VI Hall. That was the first move, but Pope Francis made it a priority. In 2024, he issued an apostolic letter called Fratello Sol, which directly called for building this plant and going fully sustainable.
So, was this mostly a symbolic gesture, or did he get involved in the technical and policy details too?
He was hands-on. He coordinated with Italian officials, arranged for the land, brought in ACEA, the Italian utility company, and made sure Vatican policies matched the Paris Agreement and his own encyclical, Laudato Si. The goal was to make this a real working model, not just a statement.
Have other faith groups or governments been influenced by this? Is there any evidence of a ripple effect?
There's already movement. Catholic dioceses worldwide are looking into solar projects. Other faith groups, Protestant, Jewish, Islamic, have mentioned the Vatican's shift as inspiration for their own green initiatives. And some governments are pointing to the Vatican as proof you can protect heritage and still go green.
The Vatican is small, though. Is the agrivoltaic model actually scalable for much bigger countries?
That's a good question. The technology can scale up, but land use becomes the main challenge. In places where agriculture is important, this dual-use idea could really matter. It's a blueprint for balancing food and energy, something a lot of countries are struggling with.
How does this approach affect both energy security and food security? Do you end up sacrificing one for the other?
The model tries to avoid trade-offs. By combining solar panels with crops, you keep the land doubly productive. It's not a universal fix, but in the Vatican's case, it's proof that you can support both priorities together.
What about the ethical dimension? The Vatican leads over 1 billion people spiritually. Does this raise the bar for other institutions?
Definitely. That's a key part of this story. It's not just about power and crops, it's about setting an example. The Vatican is saying that caring for the planet is a moral duty. That idea travels far beyond its borders.
So if we look at the big picture, a small nation with centuries of history, now running entirely on solar power and offering a possible path for others, do you think this could actually shift the global energy debate?
If the Vatican can do it with all its constraints, it's going to be hard for larger, wealthier countries to argue it's unworkable. It sets a precedent that's hard to ignore.
The world's oldest institution just committed to one of the newest technologies. That could end up being a headline that changes the conversation.
Thanks for joining us as we looked at the Vatican's solar journey, where faith, tradition, and technology all intersect.
If the Vatican can go fully solar, maybe the rest of us can too. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you for listening. This episode was brought to you by mynews.studio. Try it now for free.